What's going on, guys? Boy, I'm getting backed up on stuff I need to review. I have a whole box of stuff right there. I have a new product from the folks over at eTrailer. This is actually one of their own tongue jacks that they now produce. 5,000 pound rated tongue jack. This thing is an absolute beast. But the cool thing about it is it comes in at around half the price of most 5,000 pound rated tongue jacks. So that is really, really cool. We'll be reviewing that. In front of me is a very, very cool product. You guys know that I've been doing a lot of installations of RV air conditioning units. This is one of the Coleman units we removed. I have a Furrion chill unit over there that I removed. We replaced it with the Chill Cube non-ducted version, and we've also installed the ducted version, which replaced another one of these Coleman units, which is actually right underneath that Furrion chill. So we've done a lot. We've replaced the front unit with a Tosat RV AC 15,000 BTU quiet cooling unit. It's not an inverter unit though, so it does draw a little bit more power. We put a soft start kit on it. It's also a great running unit. And now we have a really, really cool product in front of me. And what's really exciting about this is my buddy Jared over at All About RVs actually reviewed this product on his RV, and he's had really, really good things to say about it. This is a variable speed inverter air conditioning unit with heat pump built into it. It's a 13,500 BTU RV air conditioning unit, and it's going to be exciting to install this. We just have to figure out which RV we're going to install it on, because we've replaced quite a few of them at this point, just for the whole purpose of kind of letting you all know how they compete against each other, how they sound, ease of installation, all of that. And I think we're probably going to end up putting this one in the front of the Surveyor, replacing the other Furrion unit that came on that one, because it is a very, very loud air conditioning unit. And it'd be nice to have something a little quieter, actually a lot quieter, that's also variable speed and doesn't pull as much power. That's a 15,000 BTU Furrion chill up there. And again, this is 13,500 with inverter technology, which means it's going to draw so much less amperage whenever it's starting up, which is going to be really cool, especially for off-grid usage with the Surveyor. So this is going to be a really cool video. We're going to get this unboxed, and we're going to take a closer look at it and get it thrown on the RV. Hang tight. I'll be right back. Okay, now we have everything unboxed. This is the Turbro inverter indoor portion. So this is the part that is mounted on the ceiling inside. This is the outdoor unit. This is made by Turbro, but it says Greenland, and it is inverter. You can see where it states inverter right there. Very, very low profile. I mean, it probably is a few inches shorter than the AC unit that we're going to be removing, which is really nice. Again, inverter technology. I think a lot of folks kind of expect that on newer RV air conditioning units, which means it's going to ramp up slower as well, and it's not going to be such a large amperage draw whenever you start it up. Typically, that allows units like this to be powered by smaller generators or smaller power banks, things like that. This is a 13,500 BTU air conditioning unit, which also means it should technically put out a little bit less airflow, but it's also going to draw less power, which is really nice. And something that's also really cool about this is that you can control it via smartphone app over Wi-Fi. So you have the ability to raise the temperature, lower the temperature, raise the fan speed, lower the fan speed, turn the heat pump on, set a timer, as well as turn the unit on and off, all from your smartphone. So this is kind of what it looks like. We're going to remove the unit off the roof of the Surveyor next, so we can go ahead and get this installed. Okay, so it is actually the following morning, and I've probably made 6 videos on replacing AC units. It's not terribly difficult, and if you have help, you could probably knock it out in about an hour. It's actually not bad at all. The most difficult part for most folks would be getting the old unit off and the new unit on the roof. I fortunately have the benefit of a piece of equipment that helps me do it. But that said, once you manage that part, whether you're going to pull it up a ladder, pull it up a rope, or use a forklift, or whatever you actually have to do it, that's the most difficult part. It's absolutely the most difficult part. That's the part that you could say is back-breaking. It definitely is not the easiest aspect unless you have a plan. So definitely come up with a plan if you're going to pull the unit up. A lot of people will take a ladder, a simple ladder, lean it up against the side, put it at an angle, and then just kind of like heave it up there with a rope. And that's probably the best way to do it. But if you have more than one person to help, I would absolutely recommend getting a second set of hands. We're going to remove this unit today and put the other one up. Kind of pop these off right here, and then there's just going to be some screws that take this inner cover off, and then we'll have the 4 bolts right here that clamp the two together. So you have this metal frame going around on the inside, and then you have the AC unit up there, which is right there, and then when you tighten these, it simply squeezes the two together, and that's it. That's all that holds it on the roof. You could arguably say some of the wiring could drag and that could hold it on the roof, but no, it's just clamping it down to the roof structure itself. And unlike the Brookstone, this actually has a manageable thickness in terms of roof. The Brookstone has like a 9-inch thick roof in the center, and it's a pain in the butt because the bolts need to be so long. But this one, not so much so. We're going to go ahead and pop the caps off and get this thing removed. Okay, so we have power killed to the RV. We shut off 12-volt power as well as 110. 12-volt is what turns a lot of this stuff on and powers the thermostat. 110 is actually what kicks on the compressor and the fan motor itself. So we don't want any chance that we're going to short anything out. And this is just a good safety precaution. So be sure you kill all your power. A good way to know if you're doing that is to turn stuff on, and then as you unplug the your shore power, and then you turn off your kill switch if you have one, everything should shut off. And in my case, the thermostat was on, and now it is off. So we're going to pop these little grommets out from here. We're going to unscrew the inner panel, then unscrew the 4 bolts that sandwich everything to the ceiling itself. There's little clips right here, simply pop out, and then the whole inner portion comes down. And then we simply got these 4 bolts right here. Once we loosen this, the whole rooftop section will now be freed. So we'll be able to take it out. But first things first, we gotta disconnect all of our wiring right here. Good thing is some of this is a little easier to do because we can simply unplug like that from the top unit. So now the top unit is freed from the bottom unit. And then all of this right here is attached to the interior of the RV. And technically we could go ahead and remove everything up top, but we're not going to do that right now. What we're going to do is get all this disconnected. The cool thing about the new AC is that the thermostat controls, everything's built into the ceiling unit. So we don't need a thermostat anymore. And most of these wires right here are for the thermostat. So again, we're not going to need the thermostat. There's no furnace controls in here for heat. So the new one has a built-in heat pump. It has a built-in thermostat. It's all wirelessly controlled through a remote. So really the only thing we need to run to the new one is going to be this wire right here, which is going to be our 110. And now we're going to unbolt the inner portion. And I got my good friend Luis here. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, bro?
You know, Luis, unfortunately, I think I mentioned it in a previous video. Unfortunately, his truck was involved in an accident, and it wasn't him. It wasn't him driving the truck. He was actually lending the truck to somebody, and he's on the process of searching for a new truck. So if any of you guys know where there's a really good, affordable, doesn't need to be 4-wheel drive. You're not picky on this, man. You're just looking for a truck that's reliable,
yes,
right?
Sir.
And you got a good deal on one. Let me know. I'll share it with him, and maybe we'll feature the transaction on the channel. So. He blesses a lot of people, so hopefully this will come around full circle for him. So Luis, can you believe that the only reason this top unit is up there is because of these 4 bolts?
It's amazing.
So this plate right here, again, sandwiches the top unit to the roof structure, which is right here. So now that we've removed this, I can literally press up on the AC. It's probably compressed a little bit with the seal, but I could press up on the AC and it's now off the top of the roof, or at least it's not connected to the top of the roof anymore. So once we get this one pulled off and we put the new one on, it's really important that we line the seal up perfectly with the opening in this. So that's going to be an area where Luis will be down here kind of spotting me where I slide it around up top to make sure that we're squared with this opening. Okay, so we have the Greenland inverter AC that's loaded on top of the pallet. We put a little cardboard piece underneath it. And boy, this makes life a lot easier. And I understand that a lot of folks aren't going to have this tool to help them put an RVAC on, nor are going to need it. But the fact that I've put so many of these on and we lift up a lot of stuff, it definitely comes in very handy to have this around here. We're going to take it over to the RV. We're going to get it up on top of the roof. Then we'll put a ladder on the back of the Surveyor so we can swap the units out. Okay, so we have the new AC in place. We have the Lippert on-the-go ladder system extended also in place. We're going to climb up there, and we're both going to get up there, swap the ACs out, and I'm going to clean the opening. So let's knock that out. Okay, so we are now on the roof. This is the old AC, that's the new AC. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this one, we're gonna set it over here on the side. We'll take this one, set it on the hole. Actually, before we put it on, I have some cleaning material, some release, which is safe for the use on an RV roof. We're going to, I don't know where we're gonna put this actually, but we're just gonna clean up the opening before we set this one down on it. Want this opening nice and clean. Cool thing about this release stuff is you let it sit for a second and it really does a great job getting everything off. Interesting thing about this product, and kind of a backroom view of kind of how some of this stuff happens behind the curtains, is that Release actually reached out to me and they wanted to sponsor some videos on my channel, and I told them how I would do the video, and they were like, we'll pass. I don't think I was going to be as sponsor sounding as they might have liked, but I do really like the product. I think it works really well, and it definitely does a great job considering it doesn't damage the membrane of the roof up here, which is really important to understand. You don't want to get something that's going to damage this material or cause it to deteriorate. Okay, so Luis is on his way down. He's going to go on the inside just to make sure we have this squared off to the hole. We have the old unit over here. And yeah, this thing sits so much lower. That's the first thing he said too, man, that thing is so much more low profile compared to this one. So it should be relatively close, but I'm gonna have him spot me just so we line it up, then I'll go down there as well. Okay, so here are all the inside components. They gave us 4 bolts. They happen to be the same length, same size. They look exactly the same as the ones we removed from the Furrion, which is nice. User manual, installation manual, have the remote. I already threw the batteries in here. Yeah, they give you these foam pieces right here, which are really nice. So this is in case you need to add foam to the roof mount portion of it so it sets properly on your RV. But the foam that's there, I think, is going to work just fine. You have this part right here, which is going to be your inside bracket. So the only interesting thing here that I've noticed is that this is a plastic mounting bracket for the inside. It's really thick material, and I don't think we'd have any problem with it. But in most cases, they give you a steel ring that goes around, which might give you a little bit more peace of mind in terms of how long it might last. But again, this is some really thick plastic. I don't think we'll have any issue with this. But this is what the bolts go through to compress the top unit to this bottom mount. It would have been really nice if this had maybe a steel plate on it, just so you have a little bit more reinforcement. But you can definitely see how they've added a lot of structure to this. So I don't think we'll have any issue. And this isn't going to ever be exposed to UV light. So it's not as if this plastic is going to break down unless it's just manufactured poorly. What's cool is they have all these LED light strips around the outside of it. I just noticed that. And I guess that it's going to give you some cool ambient lighting once we get everything in place. But we'll find out what all that does once we get it up there. We have our wiring right here. Basically, all of this is going to connect to the unit that we have up top, I believe, but we're going to see how all this works. So we've pulled the wires down that were tucked up here. These are the wires that the indoor unit will all connect to. We got everything stripped away. We're going to cover up some of this stuff with some ducting tape so it's all nice and sealed. And yeah, we should be able to start connecting stuff here momentarily, but I'm going to get some aluminum tape right there to close all that in. But next step is really running power. Okay, so one thing that they've done that's really nice is they've given you this little access port to get to your 110 wiring. So you got the grommet right here you're going to feed the wire into, and then it pops out right here, and you simply connect it into these wires. Very, very convenient. Everything's color matched, and it's going to work out really, really well. I'm super, super excited about how all of that is set up. And then we'll get everything connected up top so the top unit can actually be mounted to the bottom unit. Okay, so we have it mounted to the ceiling. I have it tightened down so the foam seal is compressing. What we're going to do is we're going to close the door, and I'm going to see if I can see any light coming in from the edge of it, and that'll also kind of clue me in on if we have any areas that could be susceptible to water getting through. One challenge we had is with this track system for the curtain. It kind of interferes here, but this is an easy fix because all I have to do is route it around. Just take that screw out. I'm going to put this so it tucks under the lip right here. It'll look a little odd, perhaps, because of the LED light strip, but I might actually be able to use it. Yeah, I could use it without doing that. Maybe put a screw through like right here, but it would go into the actual AC shroud. So we'll figure that one out once we get everything kind of wrapped up, but it's coming along real well. Everything just plug and played right in. Has a thermostat control for a display right here, which we're not going to be using, but we're going to tuck all the wires up here, and we'll make our power connections, and then we'll get the interior panel on so we can light this bad boy up. Okay, so we have everything wired up. We have the wires going in right there. At this point, all we really need to do is put the interior panel on, power this thing up, and see if it kicks on. So we are pretty dang far ahead. This entire process, it's maybe taken us an hour? Maybe, roughly, and that's stopping the film and all the other stuff that goes along with it. Again, the biggest challenge for most folks is going to be getting the new unit on the roof and the old unit off of the roof. We have a cheater, and that's called our excavator, which really, really helps. But if you have a quick method of doing that, or you have enough hands to do it with a rope, that is probably going to be the biggest slowdown of the entire process. That said, we're ready to get this panel put in place, and then we'll put the little cover panel on it as well, and we're going to light this thing up and see how it works. So we had this aha moment when we were throwing this up, realizing that the display is actually integrated into this piece of plastic, so it's kind of stealthy, and that's what that cable was for. So it's not for the thermostat. Well, it might be. This might actually be part of your thermostat, but you can see there's a circuit board there. That's the display, and that's what we needed to plug into. So, no, we're in good shape now. So we just need to get the panel back in place, and I think we'll be ready to go. I think that is what that grommet hole is for, so we'll feed the wire through there. Okay, so first of all, some of the names that they give these things are just kind of crazy. Turbro, I don't know. I think they need to consult people stateside before they start naming these things. Anyways, the clip right here is broken, so it actually won't secure this cover in place. These are some really, really, it's a cool idea, cool concept. You just press up and pull it down, but in the long run, I don't think that was a great execution because this cover now can't secure itself because that little clip is broken. It's a tiny little plastic clip. It should look like that, but it's missing one of the legs on it. And we got to figure out how we're going to secure this now, because without replacing this entire inner panel or taking off and replacing that clip with a clip that I don't have, it's going to hang down like that, and it will probably fall off or probably cause the other clip to break whenever we're in transit. So I'm going to try to think of a way to secure that. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but that will be a mission of mine to figure out if I can do that in a way that holds and doesn't look terrible. Let me show you a mistake that I made, and I feel terrible about it. You'll probably know earlier in the video that I made this mistake. That little bag of foam that I said was extra foam on the roof, it's not. It's actually the ducting foam that you put right here to allow the air to actually come down. So we're in the process of getting this thing going, and I'm like, why is no air coming out? And then I realized pretty quickly that that's what that foam was for. So we took the inner cover off so I could put the foam there. I used some ducting tape because they didn't actually include enough of it. There's still about an inch here that I needed to use the ducting tape to allow the air to come straight down into the interior portion. One of the challenges sometimes when you're making YouTube videos, as much as it's glamorized as if you don't run into any problems at all, sometimes you just forget because you're busy filming or because you're trying to think of the next step. And shoot, even when I'm not filming, I make these mistakes. But yeah, we were able to get all the foam in place. You actually have to back this screw out if you make the mess up I did, because I slipped all the foam through here. There's adhesive on it, and there's a hole in the foam right here, so it goes right up in the corner, and this bolt has to go back through it. So we had to take that bolt out so we could slip it through there. But yeah, we have a good amount of ducting tape in here now, and whenever we power it on, it should blow the air out in the correct way. So we're going to go ahead and get the panel and everything reinstalled. Okay, so round two, we should actually get air blowing on us this time. So let's go ahead and turn it on. Let's see what happens here. So I got a lot of air blowing like straight out this way and a lot of air blowing straight out this way, but because there is no way to adjust the louvers, we don't have any air blowing this way. I really wish that they would have made this so you can get air blowing straight down. The benefit here is because we have the cabinets here, the air is going to blow up and you can actually feel it in this area because it's hitting the cabinets. It's actually blowing at a little bit more of an angle. But this side, it's blowing, I guess if I stand right about here, I can feel some of the air. Definitely more air is blowing out that side than this side though, which is interesting considering how much closer the vent is to this side. But there is air blowing out and you can definitely feel it. Again, this is a 13,500 BTU unit. Now let's adjust the fan speed. The fan speed's on high, dropping it down to low. And again, this is an inverter air conditioning unit. So this is, basically it ramps up in speed. So the amperage isn't like instant on surge amperage, which is really nice. Let's look at some other things here. Lights. So it's got lights all the way around it. That's kind of cool. You can use that for ambient lighting. Don't know if you can change. Yeah, they change color too. That's a cool feature. I can definitely feel that there's cold air now. Yeah, it's blowing really cold air. Let's drop that down. I'm going to turn the fan on its lowest setting. Actually, it was on its lowest setting. Yeah, it's quite a bit louder than the Furrion Chill Cube. The Cube is a lot quieter. It has louvers that actually go down and you can adjust where the air is actually blowing, which is nice. This has the registers on both sides though, so you're going to get airflow on both sides even though they're not adjustable. It is louder. This is definitely a louder AC than the Furrion Chill Cube. I think maybe we'll demonstrate that real quick. Okay, so we have the Furrion Chill Cube turned on. Fan speed is on its highest. A lot of air blowing out. Luis, if you could stand like right here at the end of the kitchen, tell me if you feel the air coming out of there. It's a good amount of air, right? And then of course you have the ability to swing this louver so it will point pretty much straight down, or you can have it at an angle that you're looking for. This doesn't have any kind of cool LED lights built into it. It also does not have a heat pump, so that's a big difference between the two, but it is super quiet. So Luis, what I'd like you to do as, you know, an unbiased observer, the sound you're hearing from this, kind of remember it. Because I'm going to turn this one off now and I'm going to turn on the other one. But to the viewers, I'm simply going to abruptly stop and then we'll turn the other one on and I'll start recording that one so you can just hear the difference instantly. And this is from maybe about 14 inches away. Okay, so we're about equal distance away. And Luis, what's your opinion? Which one's louder?
Turbo is definitely louder.
Yeah, the Turbro is definitely louder. It's not crazy loud. I mean, we could still talk in here. It's not like it's going to be obnoxiously loud, kind of like your traditional RV AC units, but it's definitely a louder AC unit for sure. Again, it's not crazy loud. So far, I'd have to say, I love the fact that this is inverter. I love the fact that it has the cool LED lights, which might actually matter to some folks. And I love the fact that it has a heat pump built into it, which is really nice. All really great features. And it is still significantly quieter than a traditional RV AC. Not as quiet as the Furrion Chill Cube. It is a lot lower profile on the roof, which is a really nice thing. So you don't have something sticking off over a foot. This is very low profile. So if you're putting this on a full profile fifth wheel, for instance, you don't really have to worry about adding height to your RV, if that makes sense. Overall, it's a great unit in terms of the amount of air it's putting out. I don't like the fact that there aren't louvers that can be adjusted to blow air, you know, more downwards. I think that would be a really nice addition. Even if they put them maybe here on the side right here, where you could close these off and you could just have the air blowing down off the side so it doesn't interfere with the return air. But overall, really cool unit. Again, love the fact it's inverter, which means you should be able to start this off of smaller generators, smaller power supplies, maybe even run a couple of these where you might not be able to with a traditional RV AC with that big startup surge. Okay, so one final thing we're doing before we wrap this video up is we are adding the app to our phone so we can control this via Wi-Fi. You can see the little Wi-Fi icon right there. And now that we've added it, we should be able to control this via the smartphone, which is going to be really, really cool. So now I have the ability to raise or lower the temperature from my smartphone. I have the ability to change what mode I'm in. That's cool. I can go from auto, cold, heat, dry, which is dehumidify, the fan mode as well. And again, this does have a heat pump in it, so we could put it on heat pump. We'd have to raise the temperature to do that. Change the fan speed as well. Right now I have it on low. It is switching to heat pump mode right now. Probably going to take a second to do that, but that is really cool. So you have the ability to really make all sorts of cool changes from the smartphone app, including have a scheduled time when you want this thing to be able to turn on or turn off. You have a sleep timer as well as a temperature scale. You can switch from Fahrenheit to Celsius, of course. But that is a very, very cool feature that this AC unit has, and it's one that definitely is going to make this appealing to a lot of folks because you're not going to need a thermostat on the wall. You can control everything over your phone, which means if you are not in your RV, but maybe it's close to your home, or it's close to a Wi-Fi, or maybe you have a hotspot inside of your RV, you can make changes. You can turn on the dehumidify function if you have battery support or if you have it plugged in. Basically, if you can power the thing up, and have a tremendous amount of capability to keep the inside of your RV comfortable, especially if you're coming back to it, or if you're getting ready to go on a trip, or if you're just out and about and you don't want it to get too hot, or maybe if you have an animal inside of the RV. That's probably the single biggest application for that. But very, very cool product. Big shout out to the folks over at Turbro for providing this for review and evaluation. They knew that it was going to be, put up against some of the other products as well as the Furrion Chill Cube. And now that I have 4 different brands of air conditioning units, I can truly test these things out to see which one I think is going to perform best and basically what features that they have, because they're all a little bit unique. Anyways, guys, I will put a link in the description of this video if this is something you're interested in. If you haven't had a chance, I'd appreciate it if you took a quick minute, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.